Hello, I'm Gex again, and welcome back to the video. Today I want to talk about some of my biggest Minecraft mistakes because I have this world in my Minecraft Xbox, i.e. the bedrock version of Minecraft Xbox. I have this world in my Minecraft, bedrock or Xbox place that is actually, just filled with non-stop mistakes. I record a lot of videos here because it's my kind of creative world where I build these sorts of things and just kind of play around in my spare time where a lot of my video ideas come from. And I have a lot of cool things in here that you might like, but I also have a lot of mistakes around here that they'll probably make you look at them and go like, wow, Twigger, how did you even do that? And although some will look kind of cool, some of them are just like, oh, they take so much to fix that I can't even bring myself to do. And I want to bring you through every single one of my mistakes I've made in this world in today's video. So hopefully you'll enjoy seeing my biggest mistakes ever. This is, it's honestly a little bit embarrassing for me to even show them off now, but let's just have some good humor about it and let's show you each of the mistakes which I've made and how I made them and how maybe you can avoid them. Because I guess the very first one I should mention is this world in itself. You might wonder why it's got these big walls. Like right here, there's just this huge wall where it looks like I've messed something up. This wasn't actually me. This is kind of an intentional thing. I started with an old size Minecraft, Pocket Edition / Bedrock world, which is 256 by 256, and then I expanded out to infinite to get that kind of old world, new world feel. I thought it would be rather interesting, but the downside to it, because I had to go into the nether really suddenly, I didn't actually check out all of the corners before I expanded it, which means it doesn't make a perfect square. It doesn't make a perfect 256 by 256 area. Instead, as you're going to see right here, there's like a few chunks which are missing, which means every single one of these corners, I think that corner's not so ugly, but every one of the other corners are just really ugly because they generate in stages, and it means this really weird situation where you're just like, that terrain is objectively terrible, where like your river stops in the middle of nowhere because of the fact that, again, I didn't properly generate the entire world, and I guess that's just my cross to bear or whatever. But yeah, the cool thing about the world is that at 0, there is in fact a village, so that counts for something, right? So yeah, basically I messed up with the way I generated the world. If you're going to go from old and then expand it to infinite, make sure you check out the whole world, or you end up with really bizarre chunks like this one, which you can never really easily fix, and boom, first little, mistake I made, and maybe a lesson you can take from it. The second mistake I made was with the /clone command. So I know I made a video recently on how to use a /clone correctly. I feel like they fixed it since then, or maybe I just understood it since then, but basically I was trying to show people how you can copy an entire chunk and then move it somewhere else, and I did that, and I may have forgotten to, change the coordinates to match where they're meant to be, and guess what happened? Well, but essentially I spawned the chunk, instead of going from the ground down, essentially being the exact same place as it was before, I spawned it on the same level as me. So I took I think it was an extreme hill, and I took it and I spawned it here, so it ended up being in front of me all the way over there. I tried a few more times to get it right, like I added a few more blocks, I removed a few more blocks, and the biggest mistake I've made is this one here. I was like, oh yeah, you gotta add 60 blocks to it. Nope, you gotta take away 60 blocks, which means I have a floating chunk. It's most of a floating chunk, but not an entire one, which is just kind of stuck here, floating above the rest of the world, and because there was water in it, it's pouring out. Again, it's one of my big mistakes. You can see it all the times. Like even up here, it's like there's just random trees and stuff. It's really ugly. It's just a big mess, and it's one of my big mistakes. I'm just going to own up to it. Like, learn the /clone command. That's the reason I made the whole video on how to use it, so you don't have to have mistakes like this, because, raising this is admittedly not too hard. You just fill it with air instead, /fill air. But yeah, I like to keep it here as like a reminder that, like, yep, sometimes you can mess up, and your whole world can be kind of messy, and you can see a few examples of that down there too. The next mistake I have here, believe me, it doesn't just stop at 2 mistakes, is I made a huge pile of chests. So I did /fill chests, and I did it maybe like 4 or 5 times because I wanted to see how many chests, I was making a video on how many chests you could theoretically put in your Minecraft world and how much those would store if you did fill your Minecraft world with chests. However, I made one key consideration wrong, and that was the fact that chests are entities, which means they cause lag. Even looking at these chests right here, if you're in 60 FPS and you're watching on your phone or in Chrome, and maybe Internet Explorer 2, or Edge as it's known these days, you might be able to see that like there's a slight frame rate lowering here, but if you can't, essentially my game gets a little bit worse performing when I come over here, and this is after I've destroyed most of them, because what happened is I had just way too many chests, so many chests that if I went anywhere near them, like I'm talking like if I was over here, you might have noticed in that video, the moment they render in, like literally this point right here, the game would freeze and I would be unable to do anything. I'd just like hold back for like a minute until I got up there. It was pretty terrible. So what I had to end up doing is just cover the thing in TNT, like spawn in TNT from a distance, and then just like blow the whole thing up. It was quite a dramatic little thing, but it means I now have this ugliest mountain filled with chests, which I don't even care to get rid of anymore, and it's really, really ugly. Maybe I could just /fill air and get rid of that way, but I'd still just have another big issue, which I don't really want. So yeah, I've got an issue which I could fix by causing other issues, and I did fix by causing a different issue, and my point being is it's terrible. Don't use chests in this place because it'll cause some issues. And along the same lines, actually, I have the same issue. It's slightly less worse here, but again, you will notice it even in the video, even if you're not on I guess Internet Explorer or Chrome or whatever, look how the game's slowing down a bit here. That's because, I believe it's because of the pistons, but that doesn't make sense with the game how I know it. But it's also because I accidentally spawned something like 100 by 100 gravel, and yeah, I spawned it in the air, because again, I wasn't too great with the coordinates right then, so the gravel spawned in the air and all fell down at once. It lagged the game like crazy. In fact, shall I show you how that works right now? I'll do it with like the tiniest example, because I don't want to do it too crazily, but if you fill an area with gravel, so we'll just do like, literally like 100 blocks of gravel or something. So just 0, that to 10, that, and then 10 again. Literally just 100 gravel when we spawn it in the air where we are right now. Then guess what? We cause ourselves some serious issues as it spawns in. Literally just 100 gravel does this to the, I wonder why it's less than 100, does this to the game. And yeah, imagine that I did like a whole, I think it was 1,000 or like 50 by 50. It was a lot of gravel, and you can still see to this day like some of the entities which just haven't gone away for some reason, or maybe they already did. I'm not too sure, but yeah, just seeing that kind of shows you how crazy things are. And in case you're curious how many mistakes I've made, I guess we can add one to the pile because of this one I made right here. So let's do that again, just to show you like from in the sky like this. It's crazy how much like even that much gravel can slow you down, and it's also crazy seeing it actually land. So oh, looks like it still has to fall over here. So I guess, oh, I must have messed up a command or something. Oh, it's not just 100. I made a key mistake, clearly. Oh, yeah, I did it to 10, not to relative 10. So it just, there's, okay, you know, big mistakes my cats made. We can add one to the list, because this is going to go for another 160 blocks this way, and it's going to lag my world continuously as I go there. So yeah, that's always check that you've added the squiggly lines, or the tilde I think it's called, or you're gonna end up with a situation like this where, because I did it twice now, it's double as bad too. And yeah, you know, oh, it's actually not so far. Well, let's just get this dealt with. Okay, so add one to the list of mistakes before we move on to the next one here, because we're gonna finally deal with this at 1 FPS or whatever. Just look at that. Just this is what I've done to myself. This is. This is what I mean when I say FPS mistakes are possible. You know, you might wonder, like, Toycat, did you really make all those mistakes? And as it turns out, officially, yes, this is the worst thing I've ever done. And now I have to go clean that up somehow. I don't know how. I guess I'll fit it with air somehow. So next mistake I made, because, again, the list goes on. I've only had this world since Bedrock came out, like, 6 months ago on Xbox, and there's just even more. So next up I have here is the fact that I somehow removed all of this area. I generally forget how, but I wanted to make it look like it was good terrain again, so I covered it in dirt in multiple layers, which means if you dig down from any of this dirt, oh, I think it's from over here, you'll notice how below the ground, you dig down like 3 or 4 blocks, and there's just a big down area here, because somehow I filled it with air, and I removed all of the terrain or something. But there's still terrain down here? Okay, I'm not sure what I did, but I somehow lowered the terrain, and I was like, okay, that's not good, we can't be having that. And yeah, essentially, I ruined it, and now I have this really oddly looking flat area, because I didn't properly terraform it, I just covered it with dirt blocks, and yeah, mistakes I might have made, add another one to the list. So, next up we have, just over here, you'll notice a lot of bedrock in these mountains. I might have set a command block to spawn in llamas, and the only way to kill said llamas was with explosions. Again, you know, again, I have lots of mistakes with lag. On this version, unlike most other console games and the old Minecraft Xbox, if you want to crash your world, you can, and you know, I take advantage of that opportunity far too often. I even did it in this video. So next up, similar mistake right here. This one was actually because I was showing Green, because again, Green's a good friend of mine. We were just playing around in Bedrock, so I was showing him how the game worked. I was like, look, you can use the fill command, and then I spawned in a bunch of fences. Spawned it in a bit wrong, used a bit more, you know, like, you know, I was trying to go in the air or something, and then to get rid of it, I /aired it. I removed the entire place, and now I have this ugly little plaza, and I didn't even get rid of the rest of the fences, but I was like, okay, I'm just not going to do that, so left the fences here is my mark of shame. Speaking of Green, by the way, if you haven't watched the build, you know, bad builds versus good builds thing we did, then here you can see that it's, you know, here are the progress attempts of like my thing versus his thing. Again, it was a fun little video. I had a lot of fun with that. But we can add this to the list of mistakes, probably. Although this house is beautiful, I really feel like it's a work of modern art. However, the modern Aztec basketball court, still top 10 stuff. So moving on to the north of that, again, I'm not going to reference old videos too much. I know maybe not the best thing for right here. We're going to move on to the north here, and we're going to talk about this thing, which I like. A lot of people don't like the color scheme. I think it's like eye-catching, has to be said for something. And I want to talk about the big mistake which I made literally in the video where I was teaching about the clone command, because I moved this bottom of the skyscraper. Yeah, I moved the bottom skyscraper all the way over there. That was a success. I was going to move it back after the video ended, although I took a lot of dirt with me, so I was going to have to be careful. But then I moved the skyscraper, or the pretend skyscraper, along with it. This was just, it literally was like this, but going down to the ground. And the downside is I used the same 50 by 50 area. So I took the entirety of like some of this, again, I took the floor from this and a bunch of other stuff also over there, which means that when I copy pasted this over there, I overwrit a lot of the old skyscraper, which leaves me with something that looks a bit more like this. So as you can see, I've now wiped out a lot of the skyscraper. I have to rebuild this from scratch because there's no way to copy paste that. I guess I could probably copy paste from down, but basically I'm gonna have to go through a lot of issues just dealing with this. And yeah, you can see how this has been wiped out as well. There's a lot of mess that we've caused with my mistakes. And basically my point being here is commands are hard in Minecraft, and I've made many mistakes using them. Hopefully you don't have to make the same ones. Learn. This is why it's important to learn how /clone, /fill, and really command blocks in general work, because you spend like a few seconds and you're like, wouldn't it be funny if I spawn in like 100 llamas and this command will do it? And then you realize, now the llama spawn is stuck, I can't destroy it because there's too much lag, and then you're trapped in a really dangerous place. So yeah, my point being is, by the way, /kill at UE. So I had to kill all my armor stands, because fun fact that you might not be aware of, I'll do it right now just for like, this is a learning lesson, this video is all about learning. But the armor stand in Minecraft, because, if you want to learn how not to make the same mistake, if you use armor stands in any of your builds, never use the /kill at E command. If you don't know, I had a huge, it wasn't actually that many, it was probably like 36. I could fit it back right now, but I had armor stands all over there, and I also had a bunch across the river, and I spawned in too many for things, so I was like, okay, we're going to kill all entities. And even though I kind of knew armor stands were an entity, I didn't think you could kill them all. But as it turns out, if we kill every entity in the world, so everything dies all at once, you can see the list if you want to. But you might not, if you don't read the list, which most people don't, you might not notice that all of your armor stands die too. That's right, armor stands can be killed by the kill at all command, which is, I don't know, kind of silly. And that's the thing we just learned right there. So that might also kill the gravel. So maybe that just fixed my lag issues over here. I'd be curious if that is the case. Oh, you can see, as you run across the world, you can see them die for the first time. No, it doesn't. Okay, wait. Yeah, I think all of the gravel from earlier, either it vanished by itself in the time from this video, or it vanished because of kill owl E. I don't know how that works for sure. But yeah, basically, mistakes were made. I have to go clean up some of these now. I hope you all enjoyed the video. There's some floating gravel still. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Like if you liked it, share if you really liked it, subscribe if you're around here, and let me know what you thought of this little video, just showing some of the big mistakes and how not to make them. Because, again, I just figured it was something I had to show at some point, but, again, maybe have opinions on that. Also, if you want to see more videos in this world, or more videos in my other creative world, because I have one for both editions of Minecraft Xbox, then obviously you can check the channel out. I've uploaded, I think this is like my 4,000th video, so happy 4,000 videos, woo! And if you haven't watched all 3,999 of the other ones, I mean, like, you could watch like 39, and you could watch like the best 1%, or best 10% and watch 399.9. I'm just saying, it's a thing you could do. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all